Yes, and joining us now to discuss that, investigative journalist John Griffing, also a contributor to the National Review and the American Thinker. John, we're talking about the president. Of course, a lot of folks tuning into that interview yesterday, wanting to hear what he had to say after issuing those executive orders. What are we missing here?
Well, number one, the Republicans are taking action that is largely symbolic, and we're failing to realize that this problem is merely the manifestation, the latest manifestation in a long history since Reagan of abusive executive action that is only worsened with time. It's like compound interest. So we have something now that on its surface is yet the most brazen display of abusive executive power. I mean, essentially writing law, which Obama has been doing since he took office, by the way. And yet we're failing to realize that this is a bipartisan problem. Our party, the Republican Party, in my case, is choosing to make this a partisan issue and turn this into a midterm bludgeon and hopefully catapult one of our candidates to the White House. But regardless, this is something that has been a problem for both parties, and it needs to be addressed with the mechanisms put in place in the Constitution, namely, in this case, impeachment. Lawsuits are not going to accomplish the purpose of restructuring and rebalancing power in favor of the people, in favor of our legislative representatives, and that all needs to start with a bolder step. And I think what we're seeing right now is largely symbolic.
John, while it's true the last three presidents have used many different kinds of executive instruments to bypass Congress, is this somewhat like comparing apples to oranges, would you say?
No, because like Bush with signing statements, for example, the effect is to write law. And in Bush's case, he in most of those instances, using signing statements, would eliminate portions of law that he did not want to enforce, and he would say so in his signing statement. Reagan, less impact there. Reagan, used, I think, executive orders a couple times to change hiring practices, but nonetheless. Since President Clinton's Project Podesta, which was actually organized by Rahm Emanuel, there's a familiar name. Some of these people never leave Washington. Actually, it did something called Project Podesta, which was the same idea as what Obama is pursuing now, and that is to write codified law with executive order without the approval of Congress. The Constitution makes no provision for this. The president is authorized to sign legislation and veto, and there ends his capacity for legislative input.
All right, so you say in the past, John, that past presidents have neutered Congress to the point that it's no more powerful than the House of Lords in the UK. Explain what you mean by that.
Well, Congress is largely of its own volition becoming a rubber stamp, becoming a body of wise old men, so to speak, that is doing little more than echoing some basic discontentment from the larger populace. But if you watch and observe, as most do, Congress accomplishes very little towards actually implementing policy changes from decade to decade that fix many of these growing problems that are quite gangrenous. And if President Obama is not stopped now, and he wasn't stopped for almost 8 years, then what's next? What Rubicon will he cross next? This is truly the most abusive example I witnessed in my lifetime of a president saying, I don't really care. I'm going to do whatever I want. I mean, the phrase stroke of the pen, law of the land, kind of cool was uttered by Paul Begala in the Clinton era. And now we have Obama saying something comparable, which is, I have a pen and I have a phone.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so do Americans. The American people have a pen and a phone, and we're really upset.
All right, John, we'll have to leave it there. The American people showed their anger during the midterm elections. Much more to come here on America's Forum. We're back right after this.